Nice. Alright, public. Guess what I just found out? I successfully cut a thin mistake from Elden Ring yesterday. Alright, let's see here. That was okay. Whoever just added me in Discord, I could tell from the top of the can that was Diet Monster, and Diet Monster is absolute shit. I will destroy you. Is this a member solely? Can it shut up? Alright, we need some good clips. Let's see here. Let's do this.
You, finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right?
Billy, do you think a lot of your chatters know the lore between you and I?
Like what kind of lore?
How we met?
Yeah, maybe.
Do you think they know the lore about, like, you on the date with me?
You are such a rage baiter. That's crazy.
What? Go ahead, say it. It's the truth. Don't be afraid of your past. That's
I'll
my
say
job.
it like this, okay? I met Mizkif because
Remember, Mizkif is fucking cringe as fuck. And this clip proves it.
when I first started streaming, there was a guy who named Rafflegator. He would do date shows. I went on there. Instead of winning, Mizkif kicked me off the show because I started talking to his friend more than him.
Just think what you could have been if you didn't do that.
Ew, fucking gross.
I'm getting major Diddy vibes. I can't lie.
Just think, if you just didn't talk to Lakar, you
So
could have been with
gross.
me all these years.
Jesus Christ.
And you would have been canceled
So
right by my
fucking
side.
What the frick is happening, man?
It's all good, dude.
You were in love with me. Just admit it. Just tell the truth.
Am I in danger? Am I free to leave?
Filling is so
Say,
awesome.
let's pretend this brain is a puny little ant.
Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one?
Are you kidding?
How about this?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
So, say you had to kill me and the boss right here on the spot. As a pro, how would you get it done?
If I tried to do it now?
That's right, here and now. how would you get it done?
Well, I'd probably crush your throat first, and grab that gun in your pocket.
Hey, you don't... Did you really bring in a gun?
People down here sometimes call it a lotus root gun. Revolver, somewhere around 22 caliber.
A 22 caliber.
It's a 38 caliber.
Oh, damn.
Hey now, you know none of us are allowed to bring guns
I
into
know,
the
right?
office.
Sorry, boss. I didn't want to be unarmed while Fable was here. So, then what would you do? You got 5 bullets left with 10 guys outside. What are you doing?
I ain't worried. I just grab the boss's gun next.
Huh?
Damn, someone's got some x-ray eyes. You're something...
Here are coping and sealing. You just can't accept what you're seeing. That's it, coping and sealing. The truth it is scarring, and now you are molding and coping so hard.
Coping and sealing.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing? This fine, this fabulous, this fantastic, Tuesday. Is this an outro song? It's the Copacabana. You're coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're feeling. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. Let's say hi to all the people who've been chatting thus far, which is actually quite a few. Skittles, Festiva, Naruhime, Abscum, how's it going? Akakun, Joshua Zero, Vejihan. Oh, Benji a la carte, thank you so much for the 2, I didn't notice that. JP Ravenfire, what's going on? Francis Karma, I think I already said your name, but who cares? Animal Artivist, how's it going? Fear the Panda. And there's like a whole lot of people. Oh, Agricola, how's it going? Mr. J, how's it going? Nika Manhatter Fox, Lord Doro, Dis Fantasy, Hawkeye. There we go. Kari, sorry. Kari 1000, Hato, how's it going? Ethel. What is up, Joshua Zero? I hope everyone was doing well. We have a number of... Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to go ahead and exit out of all of these. I'm going to go ahead and right-click, open all in a new window. And that's for all of our... There we go. That's for all of our stuff here that we're going to be reacting to. So we have a number of things to be reacting to, and today we're going to start out light, and then we'll get a little bit more heavy. But the first thing that we have to react to, and we should be reacting relatively quickly to these, because later tonight on Rumble we are continuing with our Virgin Watch Along of Death Note with Mama Oko. That is at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to check that out. But that's later. For right now though, slight headache from sinuses, so I'm just waiting for the Advil to kick in. No worries. One more time for those joining, remember to glow if you need to with a motes, be respectful. Well, that's part of why we're starting out with like daily dose of internet and daily dose of science and all that. Like things get a little heavier later. I think we touch on the BAM settlement, we touch on the Luigi Mangione legal strategy, and we also touch on the Karmelo Anthony's demand for a new trial, which has in fact been denied by a judge. So let's go ahead and start out though. Hey, I didn't say you could talk yet. Gosh.
This is your...
He's just coming in way too fast. I wasn't ready for that. Oh, well, why? I'm in a blanket. Alright, so that was random. Okay. Yeah, here's the thing. With that one hotkey, with that one hotkey removed, I could spam my keyboard. Nothing scary is going to happen because that particular hotkey is completely gone. Let's go ahead and stop the background music. Whoa. What just happened? Hold on, my stream deck just tried to fail on me. There we go, I got it. Okay, now we're gonna switch this to over here. And I believe we're gonna be ready to click play.
Hello everyone, this is your daily dose of internet. They hired their friend to help make their music video look cool, but it didn't quite go to plan. He nearly forgot his lunch.
Oh Lord, big boy.
Hey, he dropped his sandwich. His sandwich. Ah, shit, that's good. That's good. That's
Did that just happen? He got mad.
Oh, that's funny.
What?
Yo!
You go right ahead.
Nice. What's he gonna do?
Oh yeah, look at the technique and the form. Oh!
He's gonna, yeah, there it goes.
What the f?
What are you guys trying to do? Is this golf? What the hell? Bro, there's... Okay, it looks like you guys are trying to hike, but you should be seeking shelter. This is too much. Oh my god, where are you going? Did you just fucking going? Oh my god! The mountain is taking him. The actual mountain is taking him.
I wonder how much sea horsepower this thing's got.
Is that driving on the water? What the fuck?
This woman decided to surprise these kids with a gift.
Give me your ball. Thank you.
Oh, that's cute.
Manny's going to school. You want to go to the bus, Manny? Let's go.
Alright, so immediately coming into this one. That kid is too small for that backpack. He's gonna go down. If he even gets more than a fucking jog going, he's going down.
Who is it? Look who it is. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, there he goes. Yep, that's
I feel like
what
proposing
happened.
over a large drop is just asking for something to go wrong.
You dropped the fucking ring? You dropped... Oh. Come on. And yes, Mr. J, I was somebody who, in middle school, I had the backpack that had the wheels on it. Because we didn't have fucking lockers, and they wanted us to keep fucking every textbook that we had in our backpack to take them out. It's just like, dude, this is like 50 pounds of freaking. Okay, I'm going on a tangent here, but it was bad. It's part of why I have scoliosis.
Makainis naman. Naitulak ata ni...
These guys got caught red-handed.
Oh, you guys like each other, don't you? Yeah, that's right.
She bought the second-hand bike and couldn't work out what was wrong with it.
Oh my god, okay, that's the problem. Your wheel. Oh no. smelly. You're done! You're done!
Oh, it's over.
Oh, thank God that pickle
Why do you
punch
have
is
a ball
over, man.
cap on?
Jeez. Oh, that feels great.
It's good. Keep it going. Bit more pressure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude! Dude, you keep roughing it!
He wanted to
Oh
get
my
takeout, but
gosh.
couldn't be bothered to get out of bed.
Thank you for choosing Waterburger. You may order one ready.
Can I just get 2 original Whataburgers?
Oh, that's awesome.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I slept really well last night.
Thank you.
2 cheeseburgers.
Thank you, man. Ah.
What is that? Oh, that's a spooky. Sucks to be you guys.
Is this the cat equivalent of Jimothy the raccoon?
Yo, what the fuck? Yo, what the hell?
This poor little guy really got caught out.
Come here, Leo.
Oh, that was funny. Oh, wow, that is a gorgeous view. I'm sorry. Where the fuck are you guys that you just come out of a fucking tree line into... Is that LA? Where is that?
He's a master of hide and seek.
Oh my gosh, they don't even know he's there. They don't even know he's there!
Yeah, that is very brave. Oh my god, oh my god! What was this fucking what are you doing, this World Star freaking crap? Look at this. Anima, what did I tell you about practicing your GTA 5 runs in real life? You know, you're gonna hurt somebody one day. What is happening right now?
This is such a bossy sign.
Cherish yesterday, dream tomorrow, live today, save a life, stop a crime, report a fire, dial 911.
Oh, Jesus! Good job.
Every time he gives his wife a massage, their cat always comes to help him out.
Oh, that's adorable. The cat's helping. As if I would ever spin out
Look,
that
y'all, he
bad.
got us blocked.
He's gonna spit on you.
You want to record I already fed you.
He's gonna spit
No,
on
don't
you.
get in front of the car again. No. I fed you. Stop.
Save it tomorrow. It is night time.
He's gonna get it. Yeah. Are you surprised that the golden retriever decided that now was the time to retrieve?
We're supposed to be going to bed.
He's gonna get it.
This guy has
Good
an unconventional way of saving his favorite videos.
He sends his reels to The Rock.
Who else
So,
do I send them to? I don't want to send them.
Why The Rock? Why?
Because he's the first person up on my send list.
Okay, that's actually really funny. That's actually really funny. Because The Rock is never going to respond to you. So, if you just have your DMs to Dwayne The Rock Johnson be like specific reels that you like? That's fucking great. That's I don't know. That's a life hack of some kind. I can just feel it. Cause in The Rock respond, well then you get a response from The Rock. It's fine. Like I'm alright with that if my curated list of freaking reels gives Dwayne The Rock Johnson's attention, then all the fucking better.
How many reels have you sent him? Bro.
Oh, she running. Oh, wait, what? Bro, the incline doesn't look like it's supposed to. Oh. Did you keep it in drive? You kept it in drive. Oh no, you kept it in drive. Yeah.
After seeing the footage, she filed a police report and contacted Amazon, where they only offered her a $75 Amazon gift card.
My bird will sing.
Best I can do is a $75 Amazon gift card. I'm sorry. That's fucking hilarious.
A song. Be nice to him.
Oh man.
These guys created their very own G-Force training machine.
Oh, look at you guys.
What is that? What is it? Nervies, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this?
Don't you throw it at me.
This little guy can perfectly replicate car logos.
Toyota.
Nice.
Ford. Ferrari. Just draw the letters.
Doing right now?
Yo.
Oh, so with a kitty. He's so fun. Hey, you better be careful.
This woman thought this fish needed help, but she didn't realize it was a razorfish that often buries itself in sand to escape potential predators.
Whoa, he's slippery. Slippery as. Whoa! He just buried himself in the sand. No way.
Yo, look how funny this is. A tree fell, and it fell on Christian Fell.
This guy turned his suitcase into a small, drivable car.
There ain't no fucking way. What are you doing? Bro! Of course he's in China! Of course check out my fucking... Oh yeah, the Chinese fucking traffic isn't bad, but guess what? That suitcase, it doesn't have paperwork. It has my goddamn car in it. What?
Is it just me, or does that look like Godzilla, like shooting out a ray of rainbows?
Whoops.
Right? Looks like Godzilla with a rainbow ray.
These guys were moving into their new house and wanted to see how the shower works.
Can we use this?
Whoa.
No way.
That's not good.
This raven is an absolute menace.
So, some of you may have met our new friend Alan. He doesn't.
Oh, she did.
No. Ravens.
You have a freaking 7-year-old freaking hellfire.
Are native to the area. You'll often find common ravens and Chihuahuan ravens, sir.
No, no.
No, don't steal my phone. Please do not touch my camera setup. Oh my gosh, buddy.
These guys were on a cruise ship off the coast of Italy when this volcano suddenly erupted.
Wow. What the heck is that?
I think this was a sign that she shouldn't play the piano again. This is the elusive American woodcock, which hunt for earthworms in the ground during their migration period.
Not bad.
Over 1 million bats live in this bridge in Austin, and in the evenings they fly out from under the bridge to hunt for food. I think he just killed a Smurf.
You see this mushroom right here? I'm back here mowing the grass, right? And I ran over one of these things. As soon as you get into it, it's yellow and then instantly turns blue.
Yo. That's fucking
Guys,
weird.
I just went to the eye doctor to get my eyes examined for
Whose eyes are that? Whose fucking eyes are that?
contact lenses. Whose eyes are these? What Muppet took these pictures? This can't be me.
The Smooth Rock Formation in Peru is one of the earliest known slides in history.
Oh god, oh god.
That hurt my foot! Oh my god!
This is a Prince Rupert's drop, which is a tadpole-shaped glass bead made by dripping molten glass into cold water. But if its thin tail is even slightly bent or clipped, the entire structure disintegrates explosively into powder.
Yep. So I'm just gonna say this now. Not nearly as cool. It sounds like you're riding a horse, not that you're playing ping pong.
I think their GPS sent them the wrong way.
Yo, don't go, don't do it! Don't do it! You're fucking retarded! Wow, okay.
It's coming to
Whatever they're paying this guy, it's not enough. These guys were trying to outrun this supercell thunderstorm.
Wow, look at that. No.
These
Hold
guys were...
on. I don't know if Meteoric is here, but look at that structure. That is gorgeous. Somebody screenshot this and send it to fucking Meteoric. Yeah, I'll do it. Sparky's is giving the correct reaction to seeing a supercell.
trying to outrun the supercell thunderstorm.
Where the fuck is he?
Who knew that tree bark could be used as clothes?
I did.
Y'all think I can, y'all think I could steal anything from here? Oh my god, there's so many.
You can tell that these birds are definitely brothers. In case you missed it, I recently launched a new channel called Daily Dose of Science. It's weekly episodes showcasing some of the coolest science things on the internet.
On to nice. Actually, so that's actually pretty cool. We're gonna move right on to. Hey, shut up! You know what? You speak when I let you speak, mother. No, I'm kidding. Check out Daily Dose of Science. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the cool things. He's already almost at 100K. And here we go. This is why storm chasers are so important. Speaking of weather and weather phenomenon.
Hello everyone, this is your Daily Dose of Science. Storm chasers like this guy track tornadoes using real-time radar and years of pattern recognition to get this close. Tornadoes form when warm, moist air near the ground collides with cool, dry air above, creating instability inside a thunderstorm. Wind speeds in the strongest tornadoes can exceed 200 miles an hour.
So, Meteoric, here's the thing. We actually have a few things. Is that what we're reacting to? We're doing this one. I just showed the picture I showed you was the end of Daily Dose of Internet. This is Daily Dose of Science, and then we sent a balloon to space to film the solar eclipse and the war on storm chasing. You did miss a notification, and there's a lot of weather stuff in this stream. So you know what? 50 lashes with a wet noodle.
An hour, capable of leveling homes and hurling vehicles. Most last only a few minutes, but some stay on the ground for over an hour, cutting a path for dozens of miles. The data that storm chasers have gathered over the years has helped cut average tornado warning times from just a few minutes in the 1980s to over 13 minutes today.
These mushrooms...
Hawkeye, what the fuck? You can't just come in here and start a conversation like that. What the hell do you mean? There's sentient tornadoes and helldivers. That's terrifying.
Bleed. This is the bleeding fairy helmet mushroom.
Mycena hematopus is a small inconspicuous mushroom that grows on decaying wood, but it has a cool secret feature.
The reason why it looks like the mushroom is bleeding is that when it gets cut or damaged, it releases a dark red liquid that's actually a latex-like sap containing reddish pigments. It oozes out as a defense response, which might help to deter insects and other organisms from feeding on it.
There are quite a few other mushrooms that bleed too. Most of these fall in the Lactarius and Lactofluus genre and are commonly referred to as milk-cap mushrooms. This includes Kentucky state mushroom, the indigo milk-cap, which bleeds blue.
This might be one of the most specific evolutions ever.
I know we all hate wasps, but these wasps are actually pretty cool. So you see these right here? These are called oak apple galls. And you can see they actually kind of look like apples. Like if you ate this, it would be kind of refreshing, bro. Do not eat this, because this and every single one of these behind me, you see that? Every single one of those behind me is actually a wasp larva. So these oak do not want to grow these apples. There's a secretion that the female wasps lay on the leaf itself that literally changed the DNA of these oak to...
What the fuck? I beg your finest fucking pardon? You're telling me there's a wasp that can change the DNA of a plant to force it to grow fruit around its larvae? That acts as nutrition so it can... oh my god! The wasps are terrible. They're the worst thing to ever exist, ever.
Force them to grow these oak apples. You can kind of see them through all their stages, right? They start off small, they get bigger like that, and then when they're about to hatch, they turn brown, and the little wasp flies out into the world.
That's horrible! That's the worst thing I've ever heard, I've ever seen. God. Why?
Those specks are eating that fish alive. But those are also her babies. These are one of the only type of fish in the entire world that function kind of like mammals. These babies don't eat anything for the first couple of weeks of their life except for the slime off of the mother and father's body, which basically acts like a milk source. And I'm gonna have to bother them a little bit more now because I have to start feeding the babies baby brine shrimp, or else it's just gonna wear the parents out once the babies start developing teeth and biting the parents with those sharp teeth.
Did you know that if you line up a magnifying glass just right, it turns into a projector?
Yeah.
Crazy.
The reason that a magnifying glass can do this is because it can bend light rays until they meet at a single point, called the focal point. If you place a screen at that exact distance, just like this guy did, then the lens projects a focused, upside-down image onto it. It's the same basic principle used in old film projectors and early cameras, where a curved lens focuses light to recreate an image at a set distance. This is what a science lab actually sounds like.
This is how loud the lab is.
Oh, this is gonna be loud.
Okay, y'all see how quiet it is right now?
Get ready. Yeah.
Hey everyone, in my hand is the most incredible
10 start, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Professor Keen, also welcome to the chat. BJ Seward, how's it going?
species of aracari in the entire world. This is a curl-crested aracari.
Oh my god, he's beautiful. Wow. Look at that. He's gorgeous. I see you're holding him in a way that tells me he does not like to be handled.
The curl-crested aracari is without a doubt the most unique species of aracari in the entire world. In fact, it's arguably one of the most unique species of birds in the entire world. What makes them so unique is pretty obvious the moment you look at their head. These highly modified feathers give them a very strange, almost scaled appearance. And the most interesting thing is we really don't know why they have these feathers. It's likely some form of signaling or communicative purpose, but in truth, we're really not sure, and no other species of aracari possesses anything like it.
This is a demonstration of an iodine clock. Two clear solutions are mixed, and for a set period, often controlled by their concentration, no visible change occurs. Then, within a second, the solution turns deep blue as free iodine
What the fuck? Ah, I'm sorry. I always forget about this. Where it's just like, yeah, time to fucking just darken. I cast darkness in this water for some reason.
reacts with starch in the mixture. Scientists use this reaction to study exactly how fast chemical reactions happen and how we can predict the moment they'll strike.
And the interesting thing is, the less amount you use makes it take longer to happen. So this one has more, this has the least amount.
This is an explanation on what exactly the airport staff are looking for when you get swabbed at security.
Well, I'll tell you right now. There's a lot of things that those swabs will test for, as well as a variety of different drugs. There's also a variety of ingredients used in a plethora of explosives that those pads will also react to. So, different pads for different things, but they can detect a lot.
It's looking for tiny traces of explosives. They can be even lighter than 1/1,000,000,000th of a gram. So the fabric is rubbed over things like your hands or bag, and it picks up microscopic particles. It's then put inside one of these, an ion mobility spectrometer. Inside, the particles are heated, turning them into a gas, and then they're given a charge which turns them into ions. And the ions then move through a tube which has an electric field across it. And the ions move at different speeds through the tube depending on their mass, their shape, and their charge. The machine measures how long each ion takes to travel through the tube, and then that's compared to a database of known substances. And if something moves at the same speed as a suspicious compound, like an explosive, then the machine raises an alert.
She created her very own camera that filters out anything that stays the same between frames, so all it captures is movement.
It ignores everything still, so the image becomes less about what a place looks like and more about what happened there. A butterfly flying away, raindrops falling onto the ground, a tree swaying in the wind. The tiny things you only notice when you stay with the scene for a little longer. Interested in cameras not just as tools for documenting, but as tools for changing how we pay attention. Change capture slows the act of taking a photo down. Instead of instantly grabbing a perfect image, I wanted to create something that would make you wait and watch, and notice what the world is doing in between moments.
Thermal cameras can't see through glass, so could you hide from one by wearing a suit made out of glass? No. Thermal cameras see heat by looking at long wavelength infrared light. Now, some of that light does reflect off of glass, but most of what the thermal camera is seeing when it's looking at glass is infrared light emitted by the glass from the heat in the glass. So, even if you put on an unwieldy, fragile...
So, you want to know? Do you want to know what will defeat a thermal camera with a success rate that is so scary? People who have done videos on it have had the military ask them to take down those videos. Mud. Cover your body in mud. Believe it or not, that's going to overcome most of even military technology of what we have. It really is that simple.
Glass suit. That suit is going to start being warmed up by your body heat, and it's going to start glowing in long wavelength infrared visible to the thermal camera, just like this one is right now. What you really need is insulation. You need some surface between you and the thermal camera which will insulate the surface.
Right now, the military doesn't know about me. I hope.
Surface seen by the thermal camera from your body heat. That's how you would actually hide.
I see something cool in physics. This is a ruler. I'm gonna place it here. And this is a highlighter. Look at what happens when I drop the highlighter on the ruler. It falls. I'm gonna place the ruler again.
And then she's gonna place a piece of paper on the side of the ruler that's over the paper, and then she's gonna do that, and the fucking weight distribution from the paper is going to transfer and keep the fucking ruler from falling down, because this is basic 3rd grade fucking physics, and we're weaker as a species by okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This is a piece of paper. The piece of paper is on top of the ruler. Same highlighter. Let's see what happens. That's crazy. It doesn't fall.
I guess he really didn't want his mom to miss out on last week's eclipse. This is what a sunrise looks like from under the sea.
Well, that's kind of cool.
One of my subscribers sent me this video he took of the recent Perseid meteor shower. It happens every August as Earth passes through a trail of dust left by a giant comet. When those tiny bits of debris hit our atmosphere at over 130,000 miles an hour, they burn up in bright streaks.
Damn, that's fast.
They have the TSA scanner see through my clothes, but not my body. It doesn't see through anything. It bounces. What? I gotta go through. That booth is a radar, not an X-ray. Let's go. Inside, there's a vertical antenna array mounted on a rotating boom that sweeps 360 degrees around you in 2 seconds. As it rotates, it fires coherent millimeter wave pulses, just a few millimeters long. The array captures the reflected wavefront, recording both amplitude and phase, and rebuilds it into a fully focused 3D surface map of you. It never actually goes through your tissue, it just sees what it reflects. Why don't the waves just bounce off my clothes? That's because of dielectric constant, which is how strongly a material polarizes in an electric field. Air sits at 1, and materials like cotton and polyester come in 1 to 2. Electromagnetically, the wave barely notices it's there and passes right through. Skin is about 65% water by volume, and water is a very polar molecule. At millimeter wavelengths, its dielectric constant sits at about 5 to 8. The wave hits the boundary, and most of it reflects. They pick 24 to 30 gigahertz on purpose because it's low enough to pass through fabric, but high enough to pick up millimeter scale objects on the surface. So any items you're not supposed to be carrying are dielectric mismatches your body doesn't have. And that's what lights up.
That is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed.
Pretty
and
wild.
I'll see you guys again.
Very, very nice. All right, we're gonna move right along because we have only a couple hours left.
In just a couple of seconds.
No, you're not. You're not gonna do shit, bro. Okay, so the next. This is from a channel called Veritism. And it is, we sent a balloon to space to film the solar eclipse. So I'm assuming they used a weather balloon to get up to, 100,000 feet plus. To get a nice unobstructed filming of the solar eclipse. So that should actually be pretty damn cool.
In just a couple of seconds, Spain is about to get its first total solar eclipse in over 100 years, and we're here with NASA to film it from space. But we almost didn't do this video because it turns out there are a great couple videos on solar eclipses on YouTube, and we just thought we couldn't add anything. But then we started looking. Oh my God, that's
Peace,
insane.
how's it going?
And it turned out, oh, I can't, I just gotta go watch this. That's insane.
So Henry, Amelia, and I still had some unanswered questions like, why is the northern hemisphere getting more total eclipses than the southern hemisphere? Why does the sun suddenly turn white only during pure totality? And how come we still haven't figured out what causes these elusive shadow bands on the ground?
Oh, that's so weird.
Okay, so we are on the way to Burgos, Spain, because it's going to be right in the center of the moon's shadow, so perfect for totality. And we're also meeting up with NASA and a bunch of other science groups because they're launching a couple balloons up to the edge of space, so they will actually be filming the eclipse. And hopefully they can answer some of our questions. Vamos! Oh my God, it's getting occluded, oh no.
Angela?
Yes.
Oh, lovely to meet you. I'm Amelia.
Oh, so nice to meet you.
Yeah, this is Gregor.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having us. I'm sorry, can I ask?
Yeah.
Are those total solar eclipses on your toes?
Yes. Totally geeking it up.
Yeah. I guess first question right off the bat, how many eclipses have you seen?
So this will be my 4th eclipse and the 3rd total eclipse. There's lots of folks here who've seen many more than me, 8 or even as many as 12.
That's crazy. So how rare is it that Spain is getting 2 total solar eclipses in less than 12 months?
If you picked any random point on any place on the Earth, it's about every 300 years that the eclipse will repeat there. But then there are some places, where there happens to be occurrences because there is kind of a pattern to the eclipses.
You can see one of those patterns if you map out the paths of all total solar eclipses between 2000 BCE and 3000 CE. Notice that the northern hemisphere consistently gets more eclipses, about 15% more than the southern hemisphere. Now, for there to be a total...
What portion? And thank you so much for the 5, Professor Keen. There will be a lunar eclipse that will be seen over a portion of the USA August 27th.
solar eclipse where the moon completely covers the sun, you want it to be bigger than the sun in the sky. Now, the biggest factor for that is the moon's elliptical orbit. Sometimes it's further from the Earth, sometimes closer. So over the course of the month, its apparent area increases by up to 30%. But the Earth's orbit around the sun is also elliptical. So from our point of view, the sun's area is about 7% smaller in July than it is in January, which means there's a higher chance of a total solar eclipse around July. But that's also when it's mostly the north half of Earth that is tilted towards the sun, the northern hemisphere summer. So that's where the total eclipses tend to fall.
Okay.
Now, the southern hemisphere is actually going to get more annular eclipses where the moon is slightly smaller than the sun, so you have this ring of sunlight around it. And that's because during the southern summer, the sun is actually closer. All of this is actually going to flip because the Earth precesses around its axis and its elliptical orbit also slowly shifts around the sun. In about 9,500 years, it will be the southern hemisphere that gets more total solar eclipses. Now, there is another interesting pattern that shows up when you look at all types of solar eclipses, including annular and partial ones too. So I crunched some numbers, like 5,000 years of eclipses, and if you look at how many happen per year, there's never a year without some sort of solar eclipse, which kind of feels mind-boggling. You at least have to get 2, and sometimes you can get 5.
How do you get 5?
Yeah, I know. Check this out. So, the moon's orbit is tilted about 5 degrees out of the Earth-Sun plane. So most times the moon passes in front of the sun, it's at the wrong height to cast a shadow on Earth, and that's why we don't get a solar eclipse every month. But there are these 2 nodes along the moon's orbit where it does actually cross the Earth-Sun plane. And throughout the year,
both of these nodes are going to land nicely in between the Earth and the Sun. This happens about 6 months apart, and it opens a window of around 34 days where solar eclipses become possible. And these are called eclipse seasons.
There's this huge window to get eclipses.
Yeah. So as long as you get a new moon somewhere inside of this eclipse window, you get an eclipse. But it turns out you have to get at least one. The reason is the eclipse season is 34 days, but a new moon happens every 29 and a half days.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's
So you can't
guaranteed to
go
have
through an
at
eclipse
least
season
one.
without the new moon happening at least once. Where, however you roll the dice, it always has to land inside the eclipse season at least once.
So you always get 2 a year.
2 a year.
Great.
Yeah, right? Now, if the
Okay.
new moon falls towards the middle of an eclipse season, it usually produces a total or an annular eclipse. And you can only fit one of those types of eclipses into a season, so you can get about 2 per year.
Yeah, that doesn't seem rare. Definitely not once in a lifetime.
Yeah, but it gets worse. Because if you also count partial eclipses, those happen more towards the edges. And because they happen towards the edges, you can get 2 in a single eclipse season, or you can get 4 a year.
But wait, then how do you get 5?
Yeah, the thing is, the eclipse seasons themselves also drift around the Earth's orbit. So if you start on January 1st and you get an eclipse really, really soon into the year, you can hit like a partial and then another partial. And then as you're moving, these eclipse seasons are shifting. So you get another one, and then you think you're done. But the eclipse season has actually already shifted into December, and then you get a final one. So you can get like up to 5.
Oh my god! Wow.
Okay, wait. I realized I forgot to tell you my favorite fact out of this whole discussion, and that's that if you look at the eclipse season, when the eclipse happens, the solar eclipse here, and you rewind by about 2 weeks, you'll realize that now the Earth is in between the sun and the moon.
So you get a lunar eclipse.
So you get a lunar eclipse, which means
Okay.
every time there is a solar eclipse, it is accompanied
There's
by
gonna
a
be a
lunar
lunar
eclipse
eclipse.
either 2 weeks before or after.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so there's one happening in 2 weeks.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's
Oh
really
no,
cool.
this one is.
I actually tried to find answer to this question, but if you look at time lapses taken during the eclipse,
Galileo,
you'll see
how's
that
it
the
going?
partial parts are usually like yellowish in color, and then the totality is white. Even if you Google on Google, you get like a little animation and it turns white. Yellow, and then it's white, and then it's yellow again. I could not find a satisfying scientific explanation for why that happens.
It's so bright, right? In order to take those time-lapse pictures, you have to put a filter in front of it. And so the most common with those filters, it's that kind of reddish orange color. So it's just the most common filter makes it that color because the sun is white, but then it's dim enough that we can look right at it during totality. And so you see white.
It's just the filter? Okay.
It's just the filter.
Maybe I can show you where we're at.
Yeah, sure.
Where you can kind of get set up.
Hey.
We're a NASA-funded lab in Bozeman, Montana, and this is an extension of what's called the Nationwide Eclipse Ballooning Project. So we studied the 2023 and 2024 eclipse. So we have 2 teams in Reykjavik, Iceland, and we have 3 teams here in Spain. The Iceland teams are launching essentially weather balloons, radiosondes, and then we're launching what we call larger engineering balloons here.
Hello, cowboy engineering here. What are you doing?
We attached this to basically the balloon, like right below where we're connecting the balloon to the payload.
Yeah.
And usually we have a little bit more sophisticated weights, but we didn't want to just ship weights to Spain with us. So we took water bottles and filled them with rocks.
I love it. I love it.
We have a little bag of like souvenir kind of things, like signed NASA stickers and things like that we're going to send up on the balloon.
This is going up, so you can sign it. Hey!
You're signing it Eclipse?
Well, I mean, Eclipse place, but I want to show it up.
I thought you were going to say like Henry or something.
Henry was here.
We're not putting you in the balloon though. So.
I don't know.
We're going to set up kind of in the middle just because of the wind direction at the moment.
Okay.
So right now the wind's going the wrong way from the forecast. Okay. Right? So it's blowing us that way. Which is fine, so we have to be far enough that we don't hit the church.
How strong does the wind have to be for you to hit the church? Like, it's pretty far away, no?
It is. We just have to outclimb it before we get there.
Okay.
So.
So I don't know how.
It's kind of weird. I feel.
Look, I don't know how. I don't know how. Maybe Meteor could hook me up with a weather balloon. But I want to get a hold of a weather balloon. To get all the way the fuck up there. but we have something like on a stick, like with a camera. Like maybe like a plushie or a picture or a card or something, and we get a selfie from the edge of space of just trolling the fucking planet with whatever we decide to put up there. I think that would be hilarious.
Like, it was like one of those things where I'd seen pictures of them, but I didn't realize how much it was just looked like a regular balloon, but just supersized.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Amazing. So that launch went absolutely perfectly, and right now our cameras are on their way up to the edge of space.
But about 3,000 kilometers away, NASA's launching another Eclipse mission, one mounted on a 70-year-old Cold War-era bomber plane. They're trying to chase the totality for as long as they can, but surprisingly, this has actually already been attempted. In 1973, the Concorde went Mach 2 and stayed in the totality for 74 minutes. Here on the ground, the longest anyone's going to be able to see the totality is 2 minutes and 18 seconds. And with NASA's jet going at 460 miles per hour, they're going to be able to stay in the totality for just around 3 minutes. It doesn't seem worth it, but they're not just trying to stay in it longer. Compared to a balloon, which is a bit shaky, a jet is much more stable, so it lets them mount much more sensitive equipment so that they can study a very specific part of the sun. Part of the sun that once led to the discovery of a fake element.
On the total eclipse of the 18th of August...
I'm sorry, discovery of a fake element?
1868, French astronomer Jules Janssen went to India to look at a part of the sun that's normally outshone from observation. The prominences, arcs of glowing gas at the very edge. He put a slit in front of a prism and broke their light into its constituent wavelengths. Out came 5 bright bands. One of them matched no element known on Earth. 2 months later, the English astronomer Norman Lockyer saw the same line.
I see.
He called it helium, after
I see what
Helios,
happened.
the Greek god of the sun. The next year, other scientists used the same method on the hotter corona and found another unexplained band. For 70 years, it was thought to be an element called coronium. But in 1939, it turned out to be iron,
interesting.
so hot that 13 of its electrons had been ripped away. So an eclipse led to discovering both a real element and a fake one. Now, to study the eclipse, Janssen used a slit, but you actually don't have to.
So here I've cut out a triangle shape in this cardboard.
Oh, okay.
And we're gonna see the shadow that it casts. You can
I'm
see
like,
there's this...
I was about to be like, bro, you gotta be careful about saying, yeah, you don't need protection to look at the solar eclipse, motherfucker. You better have at least a piece of paper with a cut in it. I don't care. Just figure it out. Just fucking hell, man.
projection of light that makes a triangle. Not too surprising. But watch what happens as I slowly move it away from the ground. You'll see that triangle slowly morphs into a circle. I can even take this eclipse shape, which looks like an eclipse when it's close to the ground, but I pull it again and it's always a circle. Here, what are you seeing, brother?
Let me switch the glass. Oh, we're getting like a nice croissant shape, you know?
I think it's called a crescent.
No, a croissant. It's like very thick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very
Check it
big.
out, check it out.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Okay, we take those same cardboard cutters. Again, here's the one with the triangle. And again, you're seeing a triangle. But look what happens when I move it away. Look, it's a crescent. How cool is that? Okay, and I can do it with another shape. I'm gonna try with this star shape. Which again, close up. What if I move away? This star, also a crescent. How sick is that?
You mean
can
it's
even do
not
it
a good idea
something like this,
to have
with
a
all these
staring
little
contest
circular
with the
holes.
sun? I mean, I personally wouldn't recommend it, but yeah.
Circle, that's a circle. But even quicker, just a bunch of little crescents. That's it, right? Come on.
See, when the cardboard is high enough, you're no longer looking at the hole, but a projection of the light source itself. Light travels in straight lines, so a ray leaving the top of the sun has to angle downward to get through the hole. So it lands at the bottom here. The top goes to the bottom, and the left flips to the right. Everything crosses at the hole, and it comes out on the other side reversed. Which means that during an eclipse, the crescents on the ground point the opposite way to the crescents in the sky. All cameras actually work like this, flipping your image. But to get this effect, you need the point to be rather small. It's like a pinhole camera. That's why all the spaces between leaves and a tree are perfect. During an eclipse, they all become crescents. And there's another crazy effect. Watch my hand. The shadows around my fingers are quite fuzzy, but if I turn my hand 90 degrees, those same shadows suddenly become much sharper. As we approach totality, every object has a sharp direction and a soft one, 90 degrees apart. Take one point source of light. On its own, it casts a perfectly sharp shadow. But add a second point, also perfectly sharp, but arriving at a different angle. Now, where the two shadows overlap, you get full darkness. But out at the edges, where only one of them lands, you get half the light. If you do it from more and more points, well, those edges start to stack up into a gradient. And that's what makes the blur. And during an eclipse, you're left with this sliver shape. In the tall direction, it stays roughly the same width as normal. That's why in this direction, you still get blurry shadows. But change your orientation 90 degrees, and now it's much more narrow. So now it's like a point source again. That's why the shadows in this direction are perfectly sharp.
So we're a few minutes from totality, and what we're going to do is we're going to hold up this sheet, and what we're looking for are these long moving shadows. They're sometimes called snake shadows because of how they move.
So you're talking about seconds before totality that you'll see these shadow bands occur. So maybe 20 seconds, 10 seconds before totality. And so you really have to be, looking for them and aware that they're going to exist.
Gosh, I'm a bit stressed about us filming these now.
Oh, you'll be fine. I mean, you're either going to be pronounced or you're going to be able to capture them, or they're going to be so subtle that nobody's going to see them anyway.
Is that it? No, I think there is a little something. Like it's faint. Oh, that's so weird. See, did you see it? Like, it's definitely there.
I don't know. I felt like you were just moving like the sheet.
No, come on.
No,
it was
wasn't
there.
moving the
Like,
sheet.
they are real.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it. It was faint.
There is still some mystery around shadow bands, but exactly what causes them, there is still some discovery there. And so it's absolutely an open question. Right as you get to the final seconds of light before the eclipse, and you just get, it's a Bailey's beads, where you just get a single point of light or just a few points of light along the limb.
The leading theory is that these narrow beams of light pass through many layers of air of varying temperature and densities. Each of the boundaries between those layers of air refract the light, bending it this way and that. This is actually the same effect that makes starlight twinkle.
But if that were the whole story, as you went up through the atmosphere, surely you wouldn't see these shadow bands. Did you hear? Because there was an experiment done in Burgos by an army engineer in 1905, in the 1905 eclipse, going up in a hydrogen balloon.
Oh, wow. I hadn't heard that.
Actually looking for shadow bands.
Oh, really?
So they launched these balloons. They've put these big white sheets under the balloons to try and spot it. And then they weren't seeing anything. They're standing at it. And then all of a sudden, someone pointed out they were just everywhere, like on their hands, on the basket, and they saw them everywhere, but not on the white sheet. They were just surrounded by it. But again, someone was already testing it, trying to test it at altitude back in 1905, right here.
That's amazing.
But what's going on there? Is there another explanation?
So there are, the other thing that is coming into effect there was the actual...
I had a thought for one of the things I might be able to do for the 24-hour stream. If I could get a DM for us to do like a fun one-shot or something. I don't know. That might be fun, but
topology of the moon itself. So those different point sources, as they line up and interfere with each other, that's where you get some of those sort of secondary effects that make them more pronounced, because you can imagine it like, in a theater. If you could picture yourself in a theater and you have one spotlight shining, you have one point source. If you had 3 spotlights, you're going to get some interesting sort of overlapping shadows, and that's one of those effects that amplify that shadow bands.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, 15 seconds.
Okay, quick, whip the glasses on. Oh my gosh. No, whoa, that's so strange.
Man, this is...
it had to be like something where like I'm not level 1, but I'm like level 5 or 6 maybe. It's DM who has a character who's helping with me, and we're doing like, it's a specific one-shot. You know? Well, I mean, God, it would be kind of fun to have a little party along maybe, but I mean, that's really hard to plan.
This is so crazy! Unbelievable!
I don't know what I was imagining, but this is so much more insane. Everyone's going wild.
I love this guy. Oh my god, you can see the corona.
You beat Curse of Strahd. I was just thinking Curse of Strahd. But, like, we would need Eva, because like, vampire rules that I want to use and stuff, Eva needs a ring of mind shielding or something to protect herself from Strahd. I think also you could probably get through... How fast do you think you could speed run Rime of the Frost Maiden? I don't know. Anyway, let's continue. I'm so sorry. Did you guys see the GTA 6 leak? I think there's been a couple. But one thing that people do need to understand about that leak is apparently Take-Two and Rockstar has been asking the courts to subpoena Discord, Microsoft, and X and stuff like that. And while it seems like the courts are going to be granting these subpoenas, Discord hasn't actually been served these subpoenas yet, which means they have not given over any info. Anything that you're seeing on Twitter showing, oh yeah, look, Take-Two and Rockstar sent this fucking random guy in blue jeans and cowboy boots with tattoos, and he's obviously a representative and he's trying to intimidate me because Discord gave my information. No, that hasn't happened yet. You are being played for a fool. You are looking at a staged video. I will let you know when the courts and Take-Two and Rockstar actually have that subpoenaed information. But as of right now, they do not have that information. You can clear it if you kill her rock. You can Astral Bomb the rock with 2 levels, 2 artificer. So, you could time it. Anima. And what you're saying is we could actually time it. Where, like, we could probably have the one shot being Rime of the Frost Maiden, and we could probably time it decently well.
And look at that, like, really bright spot on the left, like, sticking out.
It's ethereal.
Is that like a solar flare?
Hey, welcome Raiders. I don't know who's ow. My shoulder all of a sudden. Welcome Raiders. Who's raiding? Do we know who's raiding? Because I don't know who's raiding. Let me see if I can find out. Let me see if it'll tell me. You have better odds having the Pikachu's show up than some random jackass in jeans. No, exactly. It's so retarded. Welcome Pippi. Hey, Pippi. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. We're doing some React slop. Num 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 num. Also, look at this. Look at the better, like, it's not, I mean, it's not like super bouncy, but it's bouncier than I thought it would be for a Psycho model because they've updated their rigging methodology. Okay, I am talking like a crazy person. Thank you so much. Welcome Raiders. My name is Elfpire Eva. I'm a variety streamer. I have a background in law, but I pretty much do it all. We have a Wednesday show where we look at body cam and court footage. We have React Slop on Tuesdays. We have gaming streams multiple times a week. We have a yapping stream on Fridays. You can catch me on Rumble Tuesday evenings with Mama Oko watching this stuff with the community. But thank you so much for coming by. And to my chat, don't forget to give Pippi, a like and a follow. They do a lot of gaming content, including like Pokemon stuff. If you send them a Glaceon model, they'll probably plushie. They'll probably love you forever. You might could up the bounciness with some... Yeah, I probably could, Anima. You're not wrong. You're actually right. I could probably get it bouncier than even now.
I don't know what the words are. I'm just like, this is cool. Yeah, right? It's the 360. Oh, the 360. Yeah, you're right. There's a 360. 360 sunset.
Oh my goodness!
I love it. You're having a good time here, right?
I know you. Where are you from?
Veritasium is the channel.
Jesus Christ! This guy from Veritasium! This is amazing! It's coming back! It's coming back! Hey, look at the sky! Look at the sky!
That saved my life. You got me unreasonably fired up.
And then like, boom! And then that's ring in the sky.
This is sweet. Woo! I've never been this on a natural event before.
I've seen 2 eclipses in my life. I've seen actually more lunar eclipses than I can count. Actually, if I think about it, I think I've seen between 8 to 12 lunar eclipses, and I've seen 2 solar eclipses.
Bro, how was that? How'd you feel, man? It was insane. It was insane, really. I don't know. You can't explain it. Looking at it in person, it is kind of cataclysmic. You gotta cry.
What are the total eclipses? Shut up! Alright, so you got your... So you got your footage? Like, come on, guys.
Chasing this below.
It did this crazy part.
This is what I want to see. Alright.
Oh, there you go. Something's going. That's crazy.
That's insane.
That's so cool.
My favorite shots of the shadow
Wow,
are where
look at
you
that.
can just see part of it like receding.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So we had about a 7-hour drive to get here. So we had plenty of time to catch up on podcasts, and we ended up listening to one from today's sponsor,
that's cute.
80,000 Hours. It
Yeah,
was about the
I know. You're gonna give me your sponsor. I appreciate you doing it at the end, but we're done.
to say Twister.
Alright, no. Glad Meteoric is here because we have a video from June 1st, one of our favorite weather content creators. He has 100,000 subscribers. He posted a video 11 days ago titled The War on Storm Chasing. If I were to guess, this is probably having to do with the dramatic rise of amateur storm chasers, especially during storm season. Although there haven't been a lot of deaths or anything like that, they're probably like, oh my god, we had to pass these laws, these regulations, and limit this field of study because for safety reasons. Even though to this day, the worst storm chasing accident that ever happened was the El Reno. Back in 2013, I think it was.
Storm chasing as we know it is in trouble. The activity is...
Yes, this was initially recommended to me by Sparky's Tech Corner.
breached containment from the relative few that have a strong fascination with severe weather, seeing a post-pandemic storm-chasing gold rush. Public popularity is at a level never seen before, and this growing presence in the public eye has come with things like major commercialization, scandals, and threat of government intervention. Given the current trajectory,
Remember, there's a lot of arguments that people are going to make about safety But to this, when you have 13 years since the last major incident, and there's not really been a whole lot of major incidents since before then, because El Reno was a freak.
It is not crazy to say that we are one incident away from storm chasing changing forever. To start, we need to understand.
Yeah, that is kind of the thing, though. They only need one incident. They only need one modern incident, and then they can point their fingers. And they can go, look, this is why we need licensing. And like a license to be a storm chaser, like what? Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. You know, those who would trade freedom for safety deserve neither.
Understand how storm chasing got to where it is today. Storm chasing as we know it started to take
Oh, Ryan Hall wrecked his truck 2 years ago. Okay.
shape in the 1970s. Several field research projects had occurred in previous years, with some of the meteorologists involved left longing for more. Thus, the recreational culture behind it started to take shape with those that had been a part of those academic missions. Containment beyond this group of adventurous meteorologists slowly broke as few television programs covered this extremely peculiar.
Yeah, we just need, like, maybe not like a car accident, but like a tragedy of some kind. If they have one modern tragedy that's tied to storm chasers, trust me, the legislators are going to be all over it, the regulators are going to be all over it, and it's not going to be good for the field of study of meteorology.
Yet fascinating activity. But storm chasing's first real big mainstream breakthrough came in 1990.
And Anima is actually bringing up very good questions as well, because I don't understand how they can do, because that's the thing. These are questions that are going to have to be answered, and so to even propose regulations is to invite these questions, and then we're in a fucking nanny state. Like, it's not... we're in such a bad, position right now. It's like when people point to Chernobyl as a reason to not have nuclear energy. Yeah, exactly, because statistically speaking... Even though apparently I can't say that word, statistically speaking, nuclear energy, in terms of all the different types of energy, coal, wind, lithium ion, freaking mining and shit like that, nuclear energy still has the lowest kill count of any other energy source that we work on. I think that's not worth, I think that's worth, paying attention to. That's not worth overlooking. In the U.S., don't we have the right to travel? How do you stop people from traveling towards storms? Well, you need a license to go to the beach in a decade. Yeah, see, that's a whole lot of stuff. And also, hello, Big Daddy Goblin. Nobody clipped me just saying Big Daddy Goblin. Holy shit. We're continuing this, goddammit.
With the Hollywood blockbuster Twister.
Can't say nuclear or statistics. No, I can't. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
This was the first large-scale public exposure of the intentional pursuit of tornadoes. Following the release of the movie came a wave of new chasers.
Nuclear.
Success was not remotely as easy as the movie made it seem, and in fact required a lot of background work and repeated exposure to understand what to look for in the atmosphere. This was still in an era of dial-up internet and early cell phones. The atmospheric models we're used to were not as easily accessible and extremely crude by today's standards. All of this is to say Twister may have made the broader public aware of storm chasing, but the barriers of entry were still very high for those that wished to do it. But as the millennium turned and the internet evolved into broadband, resources and information became increasingly accessible. Simultaneously, severe weather understanding also advanced, with the internet becoming increasingly home to the latest and greatest findings. The second wave of increased popularity followed the release of Discovery's reality show, Storm Chasers, which ran for 5 seasons from 2007 to 2011. This exposed a whole new generation to the activity, including myself. With the internet far more...
I was not aware of this. I didn't know there was a show called Storm Chasers. That feels like it'd be a fucking good show to watch.
More established and forecasting resources far more abundant, the barrier to entry was far lower than that of the Twister generation of chasers. Further aiding in the accessibility was the advent of the smartphone, with radar apps entering the fold. Following the Storm Chasers TV show, internet video content continued to evolve and become a greater player in the space.
I didn't know about
Raw
the
footage
show.
media sales were no longer the only means to earn revenue from chasing. Like any interest in the internet age, marketing yourself alongside your passion is an extremely lucrative independent media model. Few were able to achieve this at the start, with Reed Timmer establishing the greatest foothold post-Storm Chasers TV show. But the doors were about to be blown wide open. The pandemic saw an explosion in internet content as the world shut down. Weather was no different, despite lackluster storm chasing in the early 2020s. Independent forecasting YouTube channels, like Ryan Hall for example, really
Ryan Hall, y'all, Max Velocity, Reed Timmer. There's a bunch of them.
started to establish themselves in the niche, especially given active hurricane seasons, garnering massive viewership as audience turned away from traditional legacy media.
Yeah.
Speaking of independent media, today's video sponsor is ourselves, June 1st.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
want to expand June 1st's weather coverage, including traveling for more shoots and interviews on location. We're trying to do this while remaining independent, first, to learn more. Now, back to the video. Starting around 2023, the third storm chasing popularity wave was taking shape, the internet content era. The largest breakthrough for many storm chasers to go big was via live streaming. Streaming storm chases was not new, but often required a cost-prohibitive setup to pull off reliably.
At that point, though, at that point, I think storm chasers were pretty much relying on 4G internet, right? Like 5G hadn't come out, but I think we were just past 3G into 4G. Maybe not 4G LTE, but like we were pretty fast and we could run hotspots and stuff like that.
The advent of services like Starlink and other mobile streaming tools, going live on the go became a huge genre across the internet post-pandemic. Storm chasing was no different, and quickly became a very lucrative avenue to turn what was mostly a hobby for many into a profitable business. Combine that with extremely accessible, powerful forecasting tools and a bountiful knowledge base, the barrier to entry was at an all-time low. Now, it was easier than ever to make a business out of storm chasing if social media savvy enough. Even further compounding success was the 2024 storm season, which was one of the best on record for many chasers. During that year, weather YouTubers
very active. I mean, this season's been crazy active, but it's been stuff like flooding and shit. Not as much like, there's been a lot of tornadoes, but not as much as last year. Or 2 years ago, excuse me.
Really started utilizing storm chasing live streams to provide the ultimate coverage experience, which was mutually beneficial to both parties. Then, the 2025 season was somehow even more ridiculous, with storm chasing photos, videos, and streams getting pumped in front of more eyes than ever before. But now with this monumental rise of storm chasing popularity, the growing pains are starting to show. Storm chasing's large public presence was now in the eyes of the government. In the state of Oklahoma, the mecca of storm chasing, state legislators sponsored House Bill 2426.
Professional severe weather tracker license and provides guidelines for Jesus. Here we go. The big old government fucking sticking their nose where they don't really need to.
In February of 2025, named the Oklahoma Severe Weather Media Tracking and Research Regulatory Act, it sought to establish an overarching government framework for professional severe weather trackers. This would apply to those working for media outlets, academic institutions, or field research projects. Most critically, it allowed for special privileges to those holding licenses, including emergency vehicle practices, like traveling on closed roads, exceeding speed limits, and even passage through red lights. The bill was met with...
I'm sorry, what? Licensing is one thing, but giving storm chasers elevated privileges. Wow, this could not have gone over well.
Staunch pushback. Detractors included the Oklahoma State Highway Patrol, numerous other county-level emergency departments, and the vast majority of the storm chasing community. However, News 9, an Oklahoma City media outlet losing their storm chasing market favorability, was a strong supporter of the bill. After all, they were set to gain vehicle privileges near the equivalent of police cruisers. This not only gives them a strong advantage from a media perspective,
Police cruisers? You fucking kidding me?
but also greatly endangers other storm chasers on the road.
There ain't no fucking
It is worth mentioning
what
that
the hell? You don't look. I'm sorry. There's certain things you just don't give the authority away to everyday people without sufficient amount of training on how to handle that authority. And even then, we still have instances of people abusing that authority because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And you don't think these people aren't going to use these licensing privileges to break the law when they don't need to? This is crazy.
their reputation was already marred from multiple public incidents involving poor driving habits. Fortunately for the greater storm chasing community, House Bill 2426 did not survive the Oklahoma state legislative process, but the conversation is starting to spill over into other states. Just north of the border in the state of Kansas, voices are starting to speak towards the greater conversation of storm chasing regulation. This mainly stems from a specific event earlier in 2026. On May 18th, a localized tornado outbreak occurred in northern Kansas, particularly in Marshall County. With it being peak chasing season and being the primary target area of the day, a high volume of storm chasers were out on the road that afternoon. This phenomena is known as chaser convergence, which has become a more pressing issue in recent years with the growth of the activity. This started to happen in Marshall County, Kansas on the 18th of May, which was problematic in the eyes of emergency.
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, there are obvious issues that need addressing. But at this point in time, we don't need to be passing laws, banning shit, licensing, regulating. We need data. Qualitative and quantitative data. Which means that we need whether it's a commission, a research group, whatever, that actually looks into this and looks into what would be a good solution to the problems that do exist when it comes to this influx of storm chasers. Okay, so thank you so much, Avenge900, Internet Zen Master, and Nico Manhera Fox, all for being house Carls for 16 months, 2 months, and 8 months respectively. Thank you very much.
Officials. An estimated 500 vehicles converged on the intersection of US Route 77 and State Highway 9 in the town of...
Yeah, see, that's a problem. I can absolutely admit this is a problem. But you don't go fixing things by just fucking kicking down the bridge and then going, alright, everybody wait. I'm gonna figure out what happened here. There's no bridge here. We're gonna have to close everything down. We'll have to tear out the whole highway. No. Stop. Pump the brakes. Take a look around. See what needs to be done with minimum invasion in people's everyday lives.
Waterville, creating a 2-mile backup. Marshall County Sheriff Tim Ackerman stated, "When I have to stop and deal with that kind of stuff, I'm not where I need to be, checking on people. The traffic, plus a few contentious interactions between a couple of chasers and emergency responders, led to a letter authored by Marshall County officials to Kansas state lawmakers. They requested legislative action before another event leads to an outcome of someone being hurt or even killed." While this is up in the air in Kansas, another completely unrelated legislative action in a completely different state could signal big trouble for many in the storm chasing media landscape. In April 2020,
Thank you for being a Jarl for 18 months, JP Ravenfire. I tend to forget these exist, lol.
6. The Commonwealth of Virginia signed a bill that made live streaming while driving illegal.
While driving a motor vehicle on the highway in the Commonwealth to initiate, participate in, or manipulate an electronic device in order to interact with any live stream. This is fine. This means that so long as you have a operator in the vehicle with you, they can do all of that. So, I mean, I will say this much. absolutely, these kind of laws need to be on the books. Because otherwise we're going to have extra Emily situations where people are fucking crashing into other people trying to re-chat and shit like that. I completely agree with banning a driver from live streaming. Right? That seems completely. Is that only the driver? From what I see, it doesn't mention anything about passengers. This is about the drivers.
This action was motivated by viral instances of distracted driving while live streaming. Most notably, in October 2024, streamer Jack Doherty was live while driving his $200,000 McLaren sports car. On stream, he committed multiple driving infractions, including reading his stream's chat before hydroplaning into a barrier. While Doherty was uninjured, his cameraman in the passenger seat sustained minor injuries. This is only one of dozens of documented live streaming-based car accidents. It is clear that Virginia has set the precedent that has already started motion in other states to consider other laws, especially if more viral accidents occur on stream, which seems to be an increasing possibility with storm chasing live streams specifically. Storm chasers themselves have streamed their own moving violations in instances of being impacted by severe weather. I did a video several months ago where I claimed that the El Reno chasing tragedy is likely to happen again based primarily on storm chasing's increasing popularity. Please watch that video to get the full picture, but when a similar event occurs, with a large, deviant tornado barreling towards a traffic jam of storm chasers...
Like, don't operate the phone to live stream, I'm not against even preventing chat from being on screen, but a device mounted and existing on the car that happens to be sending the feed out is fine. Yeah, and I think it will be fine so long as you have a passenger in there with you. It would be more difficult if you have all that set up. Yeah, that's a weird one. That's a weird one. Or if the live stream is on a stationary device that's not being held, then that should be okay. Yeah, that should be okay, but I'm not sure if it's okay in that Virginia law.
There's a high likelihood that there will be a live stream on air with a large audience during the moments of a chaser's final moments. This is not me attempting to be an alarmist, but from my own experiences in recent years, this seems like a matter of when, not if. I'll be honest in stating that I'm part of the problem. I've streamed some of my storm chases in the past. I've been a part of the storm chasing content sphere with millions of views that have likely in some capacity has inspired folks to try storm chasing. I'm happy people engage with the interest because weather is awesome and they should have an opportunity to witness and feel it, but I'm not blind to the fact that the explosion of storm chasing and weather content has undoubtedly greatly increased the likelihood of a chasing tragedy from happening again. And when something like that does happen, there will be powers that be demanding a price to be paid, likely at the expense of everyone involved in this great activity, that is storm chasing. Thank you for watching. I'm Ethan Moriarty. Stay safe out there when it comes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit less doomer about it, but you know, that's just me. And we're gonna move right along, and this time we're going into our law tubing, which means we have to do this. We're going into the law tube sphere, everybody. Let's fucking go. We're going to start with some BAM corporate settles with the Mansells, why Reckless Ben is still in danger. This was posted 4 days ago by Legal Mindset. He's got 423,000 subscribers. Give him a like, give him a subscribe, do all the things, and let's go ahead and see where Bricks and Minifigs has managed to settle with the Mansells.
The Bricks and Minifigs Lego scandal is over, sort of. We're going to break down the total Mansell victory today on The Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. And those that have been following this case, it's been absolutely fascinating as it's brought in so many different areas of law: criminal, civil, trespass, intellectual property, consignment agreements. It's been something that's very fascinating from a legal sense. And for those that don't don't know or need a quick update, of course, this comes down to a collection that was owned by the Mansells family. You see Brian Mansell right there, and was brought up by Reckless Ben in his YouTube videos, which brought him into infamy and a little bit of trouble as he covered this case. But now we finally have a settlement between Bricks and Minifigs Corporate, BAM, and the Mansells family. This is something that has been a long time coming, and it was reached, and you can see this here on the official Bricks and Minifigs website, through voluntary mediation, which is something that I encouraged from the beginning of this, because a lot of this could have been handled outside the courts through mediation, arbitration, and finally they listen, finally they go through with it and come to an agreement which saves them time, saves them money, saves them.
It made the most sense. I don't know why they flogged themselves in the court of public opinion for as long as they did, when they always, from the beginning, should have offered this route for the men, for at least the Mansells. You know, Reckless Ben, he's still gonna face the things he's facing both in civil and criminal court. But at least this makes the Mansells right, which from the beginning, and I'm sure Sparky's, if he's here, can attest to this, we were only interested in whether or not the Mansells were going to be made right. We didn't really give a crap about Reckless Ben, because of how poorly Reckless Ben initially handled his investigation.
Public relations. So we're going to read the actual statement because it's very important to break down the corporate BS and get into what is actually going on here. So let's jump right into it. So here we go. This is the joint statement issued August 19th, 2026 between BAM Franchising, Eamon and Matt McNeff, Baker Salem, Josh Johnson, Brandon Best, and the Mansells family. So one thing that you do immediately notice just jumping out of this statement is, where is everybody. Reckless Ben? Where is Ben Schneider? Ben, is he in there? No.
Yeah, that's everybody. Look. How'd you say? Oh my God! Let's just BAM Franchising Incorporated, Ahmad and Matt McKiff, Baker Salem, Josh Johnson, Brandon Best, and the Mansells family. No fucking Ben anywhere. That's fucking wild.
Family. So one thing that you do immediately notice just jumping out of this statement is, where is Reckless Ben? Where is Ben Schneider? Is he in there? No, he's not. His friends don't appear to be in there. So one thing that really...
Oh, dude. So, Reckless Ben's new video regarding him going to that troubled teen center. He probably cost a psychologist their job, if not some jail time. Because in order to even get into that teen center, that psychologist would have had to lie on an intake form on behalf of Brian. I mean, not Brian, excuse me, Ben. This is extremely a problem. Also, it doesn't look good when you're 30 years old and you're trying to infiltrate teen facilities. I'm glad that it turns out that that teen facility was probably doing something wrong and they shut down. That's good, but dude, you are not Batman. You're not the vigilante. And you're fucking too old to be trying to goddamn sneak into high school teen facilities. Filming in the school when you're really not supposed to. Remember, Mansells strong protections. When it oh God, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Came up in my mind was that assignment that they did as part of their documentary going through that sort of saga. One of the things they did was take parts of his inventory and kind of parcel them off and divvy those out amongst Ben and his friends, and then go and try to pursue claims based on that, try to pursue civil claims on that. So by not seeing them in this, that means that, number one, they weren't pivotal to this. So I assume that they both had lawyers looking at this, and for whatever reason, they felt like Ben was not a necessary element here. Now, maybe the Mansells were able to cancel those agreements with Ben and his friends. Maybe those were revocable. Maybe they were, just temporary. Who knows? But they weren't seen as necessary to this. Also, it does not settle, and we'll get back to this, any of the RICO claims or any of the potential criminal stuff that involves Ben. So all of that stuff still floating out there, still very possible. This just involves the Mansells and BAM corporate themselves. So here it says, there was a comprehensive and amicable resolution of a private civil dispute related to the Mansell family's Lego Star Wars collection. The collection was consigned to a former operator of a bricks and minifigs Salem, Kaiser, Oregon store. This settlement agreement is a compromise of disputed claims. It is not an admission of liability, wrongdoing, or unlawful conduct by BAM, the Mansells, or any other related party. And this is very, very important because they've got those ongoing claims. They've got those things that are still out there with Ben. So nobody wants to admit liability, culpability, or much less criminality.
Yeah, of course
and now, and shout out to Barbecue Counselor, who's actually done some great coverage of this, there may even be counterclaims where the law Gormans are making counterclaims against BAM corporate. That doesn't solve any of that or admit any wrongdoing. The Mansells confirm that they have been compensated by BAM for the losses associated with their consignment arrangement, and thus are releasing all their legal claims against BAM, its leadership, Baker Salem, Josh Johnson, Brandon Best, or any current minifigs franchisee. BAM, the McNeffs, Baker, Josh, Brandon, likewise will dismiss their lawsuit against the Mansells. So a couple things you don't see here. You don't see the exact amount, and I don't think it's $200,000. I would imagine it's going to be something less than that because that was the optimistic, that was the big, shiny, flashy number for YouTube. But that number they ultimately settled on, probably less than $200K, but probably not something paltry. So it might be something like $100K or $80K, $90K, who knows? But there's a settlement amount. It's probably not the full $200K. Through an exchange of records and information during the legal and mediation process, the parties developed a more complete understanding of what occurred. That's very good. The underlying dispute arose from a consignment contract between the Mansell family and the Oregon store. BAM, Baker Salem, Josh, and Brandon were not parties to it. The Mansells' loss arose in part from the sale, accounting, storage, and disposition of the inventory by the former operator of the store. So these parties are kind of pushing it off. They're kind of pushing all that liability and culpability off and saying, hey, it wasn't us. Now, that doesn't mean it ultimately wasn't, right? Having a settlement agreement, these two can say, hey, neither one of us are blaming each other, but that doesn't mean that BAM isn't at fault. That doesn't mean that BAM might not have had a hand in this. All that means is as part of this settlement, they're not blaming each other. As part of the settlement, Mansell has assigned to BAM his claims under the original consignment contract. So that's the part that's very fascinating to me. So that assignment, which we saw him doing to Ben, somehow that's now revoked, or whatever they had going on with Ben and his friends. The Mansells have somehow revoked that, drawn that back, canceled that, and now they've actually assigned that to BAM. Because you, of course, if you're BAM, you're a corporation, you want to make sure that you're actually able to get the thing you're bartering for. BAM may elect to pursue these claims against those responsible. So they're still holding out that if they figure out who did what, or if there are other parties that are to blame here, they still hold out the right to go after them. So BAM could actually end up suing other people in the future. It's possible. The Mansells have agreed to provide relevant records in support of the claims, and the parties believe this places responsibility for remedying any fault with the appropriate parties. This is another thing too. So now the Mansells, they went from being in the camp of Ben and cooperating with Ben to saying, no, we are now going to cooperate with BAM. So now the Mansells are obligated, at least in terms of records and general cooperation, to cooperate with BAM. They've shifted sides here, and that's very big. If you think about the overall PR of this case, you think about the overall coverage, the original family that's harmed now has kind of shifted their camp to sitting with BAM. Now they got a payout for that, but that's where they're at right now. BAM recognizes that the Mansell family experienced a genuine loss, prolonged uncertainty, and considerable frustration after the original contract was not properly administered by the former operator of the store, and during the transition, the former operator to the replacement franchisee. BAM regrets that it did not quickly access information necessary to understand and resolve the matter. This is such an understatement. If they just taken the time to listen, if they stepped back, took a deep breath, and actually
Yeah, 'cause we
tried
have
to
this
solve
part
the
on video.
problem.
We have this part on video. Fucking Brandon Best or whoever it was fucking walked in with his fucking Marvel name, Reed Richards, Peter Parker, fucking Brandon Best. What is up with these fucking Stan Lee style fucking names? Anyway, so I'm going on a side tangent. We saw on video him come in, seizing the inventory, seizing the store. The previous owner mentioning that they need these receipts and stuff, and the freaking corporate liaison who was on the phone, on Brendan Best's phones, quite literally said, "We will take on the responsibility and obligations of the freaking of the consignment." Also, yeah, great freeze frame.
We wouldn't have had this go on for so long. It wouldn't have become a public relations disaster. It wouldn't have become something that has multiple lawsuits spawned from this, potential criminal stuff, all this stuff that really didn't need to come if they just took that time to listen earlier. And it's good to hear BAM admitting that fault here. It also issued an unqualified apology to the Mansells family for the losses and pain suffered from the events surrounding the dispute. The parties recognize that many Bricks and Minifigs franchisees and employees had no involvement surrounding this dispute and hope that this resolution brings closure to everyone involved and all may resume their normal business activities and personal lives. So there you have it. That is the corporate statement. Now, I want to focus on one last thing, and this was in a separate comment we got from Eamon McNeff, and he stated, whatever disagreements existed during this process, the Mansells experienced a genuine loss and great deal of uncertainty and frustration. That is key here, that he's coming out and saying whatever happened in this situation, these people had a genuine loss, a genuine frustration, their concerns were valid. And I think that goes really far to moving their PR in the right direction and getting back to business as usual. Because of course that's what Bricks and Minifigs wants to do, and they want to get back to just selling bricks and
although
minifigs.
I don't know how well they're going to be able to do that.
There's some loose ends. Let's talk about that. The
Yeah, some
mediation
loose
in
ends,
no way includes any settlement of the lawsuit between BAM and Reckless Ben, any of the criminal stuff that's involving
so strong.
Reckless Ben. It doesn't solve any of that at all whatsoever. This is just with the Mansells. Also, and then once again, shout out to Barbecue Counselor on this one for mentioning this, there may be some more counterclaims that are brought by the Law Gormans against BAM. Doesn't solve any of that, right? So anything that's lingering out there, which we will definitely get to in future videos as we get updates with the court, as we get confirmation of court filings, we know things are real and filed with the court. As those things come in, we'll get you updates on that, but none of that is settled. But it does change the calculus for public relations and settlement. And that brings me to my judgment here. In judgment, this does settle the key issue that Reckless Ben started everything for. This was all about the 200K Legos, and now that's solved. So the damage, the harm, stealing Legos from old people, you know, all that stuff, that's all gone. So that big monkey is handled, right? That gorilla is back in the cage, right? We've handled that situation, but we have not handled all the litigation coming from this, and BAM may still feel like they want to pursue these claims against Ben, or they want some damages from Ben. But I think it does ultimately encourage resolution of those other claims. Look, if you look at them and you say, hey, they went through mediation, they were willing to be reasonable, they were willing to apologize, they were willing to admit fault. Why can't they do that with Ben? Why can't they come to an agreement there and settle this, handle this, close this off, let Ben go off to covering other topics he wants to cover? Because it seems like he's got a lot of other interesting topics that he wants to go off and cover as a YouTuber, and that'll give him freedom to go about his life and to kind of move on. Why not go do that, move on, get the public relations settled, and handle all of this? I still think settlement, I still think a peaceful resolution is better than going through litigation, lawsuits, criminality. But I want to know what all of you guys think about this in the comments below. What do you think about the settlement with the Mansells? Is it enough to bring this to close? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.
Bada bing, bada boom. I would prove a point with Ben. But that's just, I mean, maybe that's what Bricks and Minifigs is going to try to do.
Legal. So a very...
Yeah, hey. Andrew, you can't just start talking.
You have some.
All right, let's continue on here. We're gonna continue on with some more legal mindset fast facts. Did Luigi Mangione just beat the state charges? New York Double Jeopardy explained. This is actually a pretty good topic because a lot of people have been mentioning that, the reason why Luigi Mangione pled guilty to the federal stalking charges is because how strict and how narrow the New York Double Jeopardy laws are. So even though he's pleading to a lesser crime on the federal court because it has to do with the same set of facts, he can't be tried in the state. I don't know what the strategy is, but this was apparently some kind of fucking attempt at a 200 IQ level play.
Luigi may have avoided a life sentence here. We're going to get into that today. We go over the United Healthcare case on the Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. Now, this has been a case that everyone is paying attention to, the United Healthcare case. But in case you need some background, give some facts, here is Luigi Mangione. He is the suspect in this case. This case was over an incident a while back in 2024. Where United Healthcare CEO
Well, that was already a couple years ago.
Brian Thompson was found deceased, and Luigi Mangione was arrested with a 3D printed handgun that matched the type of quote-unquote ghost gun that would have been used in the incident, with a suppressor, also notes that criticized the healthcare system, fake ID cards. And at that time, he was charged in both the federal court and in the state court, state of New York, for suspicion of this crime. So what happened? Well, we had this procedure where the U.S. District Court judge dismissed in January of 2026, dismissed the murder charges and firearm charges on technical grounds at the federal level. Now, there were still charges going on at the
But, exactly, the state was still charging him with murder.
state level, mind you, that's very important here. But at the federal level, those charges went. So the only thing left were stalking charges, and those did not carry the death penalty. There's no death penalty for federal stalking. Now, the state
Does New York not have the death penalty?
case on the other charges, including the homicide charge, was set for September of 2026, and that carried a charge of second-degree murder and weapons offenses. But now we have a change in the game with a confession and a plea deal. So in his confession in open court, Luigi admitted to planning the attack, traveling to New York with the intent to shoot Thompson using the 3D printed saying, I shot him in Manhattan and he died, and I knew what I was doing was illegal. So a very clear confession there to the crime. The plea was a plea to 2 federal stalking charges. There was no formal plea deal. So the prosecutors and him did not come to this deal. He just essentially is pleading guilty and putting himself at the mercy of the court and what the sentencing would be. In fact, the prosecutors, the federal prosecutors, have said they are seeking the maximum penalty, which is life here. But unfortunately for those prosecutors, as much as they may want life, the guidelines, which typically are followed here, set around 24 to 30 years. So not exactly the lining up with a life sentence. And generally that requires about 85% to be served with no parole. The important thing for Luigi, though, is he immediately after this plea deal moved to dismiss the New York state charges on the basis of double jeopardy.
Okay. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think that's possible. I think that's a crackpot theory.
So today, the key word and the key phrase, legal phrase you guys learn is double jeopardy. And double jeopardy, very, very simply, is prosecution of a person for a second time for the same offense. Now, under our Constitution, Fifth Amendment, that's a big no-no. You cannot prosecute somebody for the same charge once again if they've already been gone through the process for that charge. So, for example, if someone stole something, you can't prosecute them twice just because you didn't like how it came out in the first case. That's double jeopardy. And so there's a real question here.
I like how not one but two of my chatters went to look it up and came back with the answer around the same time. So it looks like New York hasn't had the death penalty since 2004.
As there was a federal case going on and a state case going on, does double jeopardy apply, and are those state charges knocked out? And that's a real question of law, which actually requires us lawyers to think a little bit. So let's walk through it today. So in Luigi's defense, the New York law provides this broad, equitable double jeopardy protection. So states can provide higher levels of protection than the federal level, and that's something that you see in the New York state law.
Well, really, New York law provides broader, equitable double jeopardy protection than the Fifth Amendment. It bars a New York prosecution for offenses arising from the same criminal transaction or occurrence, including federal. So because he's flipped guilty, wow. There's gotta be exceptions, right? Well, here's the thing. He said guilty, but yeah, he can't get me for this, because I already said guilty for that. But oh shit, that doesn't seem good.
And it pretty much bars any New York prosecution for offenses arising from the same criminal
That is, wow, New York, you gotta look at your fucking constitution, bro.
transaction or action or occurrence. So essentially saying if these things came from the same root incident, you cannot be tried twice for them. And this includes federal crimes. So for example, if someone's already gone through that same criminal prosecution for that one incident at the federal level, you cannot bring that again at the state level in New York. But there's a real question here. Now, these are around the same core facts. This United Healthcare CEO's death, that's kind of the whole general thing. But the prosecution will have a different point. First of all, they'll point out dual sovereignty, which is the point that the federal government and the state government are separate, and the federal government and state government can prosecute separately. But the federal claims they're going to argue center around stalking and interstate stalking, and that's what they're going to argue their cases about.
They're going to try to limit the fact, okay, I see what they're doing. Look, we didn't even go after, we dropped the charges with the murder and shit like that. We were interested in going after him for the federal stalking, the act of stalking. Now, his stalking might have led to the killing of this man, but it was not in and of itself directly related to the killing of this man. It actually is. It's actually events in criminal violations that occurred before the murder ever happened. Yeah, that would. I mean, if I were a judge, I would probably let that through.
And saying that the state case is really the one about the murder and the firearms charges. So they're going to try to break those out into two different things and say, hey, stalking was one thing over here, but the firearms charges, that's separate over here, and saying that, hey, double jeopardy does not apply here and the state can proceed. So in judgment, I think Luigi did make a smart move here in his defense attorneys by avoiding potential double life sentences. He could end up getting a life sentence, something near a life sentence in the federal court and then getting another life sentence in state court. So kind of getting that double life there. He does avoid that by going through this process by kind of pleading. And obviously, if they follow those guidelines, he might get a little bit less, right? So he might be looking at 2 decades, for example. And that was a pretty good use of that defense of double jeopardy. However, it's not clear it's going to work. And even if it does, and even if it does knock those out, he's still facing significant time in the system, even on the federal charges alone. So just on those federal charges alone, he's looking at maybe 2 decades, which is significant amount of time. We will be monitoring this case as it goes out. Sentencing will be in the future, and we'll see how this goes. I don't know what you guys think of the United Healthcare case. If you have any crazy conspiracy theories or other crazy stuff, drop it in the comments. I love to see that stuff, and I will catch you guys on the next one.
Bada bing, bada boom. And that is our legal mindset for the day. We have one more video, and this is from our buddy Nate the lawyer, posted 5 hours ago. Karmelo Anthony's fight for a new trial ends in denial. And yes, Karmelo Anthony did apparently attempt to demand a new trial, and he was citing the fact that certain evidence was not allowed in to testimony on both sides. So, allegedly, these two kids knew each other. The victim was no saint, but Karmelo Anthony also had text messages of him desiring to stab people, which, given he just, went on trial for stabbing someone, speaks to premeditation and shit like that. From what I understand, a new judge was actually assigned to the case, and that new judge denied the demand for a new trial. So here we go. Nate the lawyer is going to give it to us dirty, and let's see what's going on.
We have some breaking news to bring you as Karmelo Anthony has lost his bid for a new trial.
A judge said no to Karmelo Anthony's request for a new trial. Judge said no to Karmelo Anthony's request for a new trial.
Karmelo Anthony's attorneys say their fight for a new trial is not over.
All right, so Karmelo Anthony's motion for a new trial was denied. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. What's going on?
Every time you shop, check your email, create an account, somebody is trying to track you, scam you, or collect your personal. Those 4 free.
They're trying to get my
Three
Jimmy.
extra months. Now, let's get back to the video. Okay, so this Karmelo Anthony, spelled with a K, was convicted of murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison for the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf when he stabbed him in the chest during the altercation at the track meet. We all know this. Now, when the race grifters got this case, it became a mess, right? Because, hey, we got a black kid, we got a white kid, let's just make it about race. Now, I'm going to say this. If these were 2 white kids or 2 black kids, we wouldn't even hear about this case. But because one happens to be black, one happens to be white, it's now become a race issue. Now, objectively, this was a classic self-defense case. And the facts are very clear. Austin Metcalf touched Karmelo Anthony, asking him to leave the tent. Karmelo Anthony responded to that simple touch with a stabbing. Now, in the United States, you can't stab people for touching you. You can't stab people for pushing you. That
you have to. There's something called proportionality. And you have to give a. I'm sorry. It's so insane to me that I'm looking at this freaking hey, you can't respond to a push by stabbing a fucker. You can't do that. That's not what we come on, man. But yeah, it's the fucking name of the game here is proportional response. And I'm sorry, pulling out a knife and stabbing somebody is not proportional to being pushed. My fucking God.
is going to get you likely a life sentence or multiple decades in prison. And that's what the Karmelo Anthony proponents want you to believe. That a simple touch on the shoulder to ask you to leave should be a death sentence. So obviously there was a trial. Every single witness said the same thing. Karmelo Anthony overreacted. Karmelo Anthony wasn't acting self-defense. Even his friends, the black people who were there, the white people who were there, all the witnesses said he was being unreasonable.
Look, I'm gonna say about that one, Sheep. America has a history of overreacting to when you even look at one of our boats wrong. Even if there are American citizens on a boat that's not ours, that's enough to fucking start a war sometimes. So like, really, they had a chance to read the room, and they still decided to touch our boat. You know, that's on them at that point.
And he stabbed the kid for no reason. But even with that overwhelming evidence, you still have the grifters out there making this into a race issue. So with all that said, Karmelo Anthony and his legal team filed a motion for a new trial because they said that, number one, the trial was improperly closed to the public and that there was a gentleman's agreement between the prosecution and the defense that violated Karmelo's right to testify in his own defense. Now, everyone really focused in on the gentleman's agreement because that's where the fight really was. And the court had to examine the previous evidence of bad doings by...
Alright, so what was this gentleman's agreement? Why do we always get these fucking gentleman's agreements? Can't we just, you know what? If I'm a prosecutor, I'm not giving people gentleman's agreements. I'm not giving them, I'm not even really being all that nice on plea deals. I mean, real. Fucking, if me as a prosecutor, fucking, dear God, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not, Ted, I'm telling you why.
Austin Metcalf, and they also had to examine the character evidence or the previous bad acts by Karmelo Anthony. Now, one thing that's shocking is that I've been watching a lot of coverage of other YouTubers who've been covering this, and what I've been seeing is that some YouTubers are only telling you the bad stuff that happened with Austin Metcalf, and then some YouTubers are only telling you the bad stuff that's happening with Karmelo Anthony. Let me give you an example. Let's talk about the racist.
This is a big reason why I have been hesitant to cover the Karmelo Anthony case, because I want all the facts, and looking online, you are not going to get all the facts. You're going to have to piece the facts together by scouring the internet and scouring the fucking extremes of both sides of the political spectrum.
Acts by Austin Metcalf because he did some racist, crazy stuff. Here's an example.
Metcalf and his brother Hunter were once caught spray painting graffiti, including KKK Kill All Blacks and Heil Hitler, along with the N-word, and were sentenced to 12 months of juvenile probation. Records reveal they reportedly told authorities, "We did some dumb stuff. We did some vandalism." There are several documented instances of Austin using racial slurs in school.
So, Austin Metcalf.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That is so fucking crazy. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't kill someone over racial slurs. What is relevant to this case that, yeah, well, he called me a racial slur. Well, that's really fucking messed up of him. But it doesn't give you the right to fucking bury a knife in his chest. Like, come on, people. Like, what? And yeah, we heard Austin. He said some pretty mean words. Yeah, I'm sure he fucking did, but did he do anything like that fucking made Anthony fear for his life? You know, that's what you have to meet when you come up with a self-defense argument, which is only a partial defense. You admit that you did what you did, but there's a good reason why you did what you did.
Metcalf was no saint that was involved in all this racist crap. But
that news reporter was way more comfortable quoted a call for mass murder than a slur. Yeah, what was that about even?
But he wasn't the only one. Karmelo Anthony.
And yeah, what kid doesn't use slurs?
Was also a racist.
And authorities found a note on Anthony's phone with a long list of disturbing racial tropes and slurs about blacks, white.
I can't do the C word. What is happening? Oh God, everybody's racist. Okay, we get it. Jesus Christ.
And Hispanics. In one message thread, prosecutors say Anthony wrote, "I hate gay people."
And just so we're all on the same page, the spray painting, the KKK, I hate N-words and all that stuff, that happened when Metcalf was 10 years old. And the racist stuff from Anthony happened back in 2021 when he was about 13 years old. And
okay. So these are like super duper edgy 13-year-olds, just, okay. This isn't like they're coming up and almost out of high school and they're doing this stuff.
there were more incidents for both kids revolving racism and all that stuff, even after those particular points. So these weren't one-off events for either one of these teens, right? They were effectively, one was a racist, he happened to be.
I don't know, homie. I grew up in Bible Belt in the 90s. And listen, half of the folks in my school were slurring. Yeah, I mean, I heard it online more than I heard it in school. For goddamn sure. I don't know about nowadays, but
black, the other was a racist that happened to be white. But it's so interesting that most of the YouTube commentators who are pro-Anthony have just totally ignored.
Internet Zen Master, thank you so much for the 10. It's a sign of the times when my reaction to the things about Austin Metcalf saying well stuff is to Burrow Powder's line yes and everyone's a little bit racist song search place. Well, my issue is what is the relevance of reporting on this information of 2 seniors in high school who are, you know, just kind of shitty human beings? The fact of the matter is someone's dead, someone's not. We gotta figure out why, whether it was justified or not. And what does them saying racist shit as they're coming up as teenagers, what does that have anything to do with the fact that someone's dead now? Is it reportable? I don't think it's worth reporting on the news about what these people are. That it's kind of like this other thing that's going on. I don't know if anybody's. Oh God, what's her name? Does anybody know the actress, the actress who died recently, to an alleged overdose? She was the voice actor of Dot from Bug's Life. I keep seeing these things where like the police have treated it as an accidental death, but oh, they're investigating, and the cops. I mean, not the cops, but the media keeps going, oh yeah, and she had the shady boyfriend, and this is what he was doing, and this is how he reacted, and these are the shady things that he was doing. I'm like, why are you trying to build a case when the police have already said that this was clearly accidental? They're crossing their T's, they're dotting their I's, but you're trying to make something happen. Not Dolly Parton, yes. Very sadly, I've learned as of this morning, Dolly Parton has died at the age of 80. We have lost a freaking legend. Yeah, I want nothing to do with men who's mean to waitstaff. What's that got to do with someone being stabbed? Exactly.
The fact that Anthony was an overt racist and are only fixating on the fact that Metcalf had racist posts. For instance, here's the amazing Lucas. Listen to what he says, and I want to ask you, which kid is he talking about?
And we come to find out that everything that people have been saying, the rumors, right, of him being expelled from school or suspended from school.
In 2021, Anthony told a friend he had been suspended from school for 3 days for fighting.
Of him assaulting this chick.
There are also text messages where he admits on at least 2 occasions to punching girls in the face.
Of him, of all the litany of evil that this kid has been doing, we come to find out that it's all true.
In one message thread, prosecutors say Anthony wrote, "I hate gay people." Prosecutors say Anthony repeatedly threatened to murder his girlfriend in text messages, some of them saying, "How many bullets you want coming out of your chest?" and "I'm going to get you," expletive.
So as you see, everything that he's saying about Metcalf being a bad person applies to Karmelo Anthony. So now, why did I show you that? I think Karmelo Anthony's defense team was correct, the original defense team, in keeping this information away from a jury. Because your client, Karmelo Anthony, is being charged with stabbing somebody in anger, disproportionate. He's being charged with overreacting, stabbing someone, and causing their death. And in those messages, he's literally saying how he enjoys stabbing people. And for instance, think about this. One of the biggest issues.
Problem. I mean, look, for all intents and purposes, I will tell you this much. Karmelo Anthony's defense team fucking hit it out of the park by getting this evidence out of the actual trial, because I feel like they would have been able to prove premeditation, or at least go towards proving premeditation with those text messages.
In this case was always like, you always heard, why did he bring a knife to the track meet? Well, the reason why is, this is why he bought knives everywhere. He always bought knives to school. He bought knives and guns.
And also to bringing a weapon onto a Frisco school campus, saying this about his girlfriend. "She went in my bag to get my computer and I said no, and she still went in it and grabbed it, and my gun and my knife and some other stuff fell out."
Well, that answers our question.
Why the fuck are you bringing weapons to school? That's another thing that people have to understand. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, oh, he didn't have the right to have a knife on him. I guarantee you he didn't have that right. What, you think the schools let fucking people carry around 8-inch knives in their backpack?
Question why someone would bring a knife to a school track event. And if that was to go in front of the jury, that he brings knives and guns to school, putting everybody in danger all the time, I think he would have gotten more time. So again, I could be wrong, but I wanted to give everybody a follow-up to what happened on Saturday. My understanding is that the judge didn't find anything wrong with the trial that was bad enough to overturn the verdict, because it has to be, it's a real high standard, and it didn't come close to that. And I know this is crazy to say, it's crazy coming out of my mouth, but just because someone is racist doesn't mean they should be murdered. Is it like, are we at that point where we're saying that? But let me just bottom line.
Yeah, thank you. We cannot be at the level where it's like, yeah, we can justify murdering somebody because they said slurs. Yeah, so? And I don't see, yeah, so as in like I'm disenfranchising people who get slurred, but fucking hell. You don't kill people over words. You just don't.
Austin Metcalf's racist past doesn't really matter. Karmelo Anthony's racist past doesn't really matter. What matters is what happened that day. Two teens who seemingly both were troubled teens were at a track meet. One teen went to another team's tent, sat down, and refused to leave, even being asked 15 times by all the people there. When another teen then touched him on the shoulder or grabbed him and said, "You have to leave," another teen, Karmelo Anthony, stabbed him in the heart and ran like a bitch. And people are complaining about the 35-year sentence. But in New York, we just saw where a town official shot a DoorDash driver in the back who was lost and looking for directions. He got 17 years. So Karmelo Anthony, for killing someone and essentially cold blood, got 35 years. So with all that being said, now we know that Karmelo Anthony has been denied a new trial. Now we understand how everyone's pushing the narrative. One side is hyper-focused on Metcalf's racism and essentially are ignoring Karmelo Anthony's racism. One side is upplaying the violence for Karmelo Anthony and downplaying the violence for Metcalf. This is just the way it goes. But at the end of the day, the facts are what they are. Do you agree with them or not? Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll ask everyone out there a question. If we remove the race of both parties, make them two blue people, would you really feel the same way about this story? Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all the great YouTube.
Yeah, no, their race doesn't matter to me. The facts of the case do, and those facts were adjudicated in front of a jury. We have our verdict, we have our conviction, we have our sentencing. And I think it was appropriate. 35 years for the death of someone, yes, absolutely. You know, short of the death penalty.
You have some.
But thank you so much to all the people who've come by to hang out with us for like the last 2 hours and 17 minutes. Thank you so much to everybody. There we go. Thank you so much to everybody who come by and hang out to me. Oh God, let me stop having a stroke. Alright. Thank you so much for watching me react to content for the last 2 hours. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell as hard as you possibly can, and we will of course see you all in roughly 30 minutes on Rumble, where we will continue our watch-along of Death Note with Mama Oko. We will see you all there.